Hold up, don't you dare scroll past this right now. Urgent intel is dropping tonight that scheduled exchange appointments for foreign currencies could be kicking off as early as today. And this breakdown is going to give you every single detail you need. What insiders are buzzing about, exactly what red flags and green lights to watch for, and the precise steps you should be taking right now to make sure you are fully locked and loaded when that call comes in. So keep your phone on loud, keep refreshing your secure banking inbox. And pay close attention, because in a situation like this, the tiniest detail can be the difference between seizing a life-changing moment and missing it entirely. Right now, across multiple private forums and encrypted group chats, people are posting screenshots and short clips claiming that top-tier national banks have already begun quietly reaching out to select clients through private channels. And at the same time, the major official institutions, the ones chartered to serve the general public, have not released any clear public confirmation. And it is exactly that collision between loud grassroots chatter and total institutional silence that makes it absolutely critical for you to have a cool-headed, methodical game plan instead of reacting on pure emotion. What we are going to break down right now is the recurring pattern behind these appointment claims, how to get your paperwork locked in tight, how to sort and organize every single note you hold, and precisely how to respond if a verified, secure invitation to book an appointment actually lands in your inbox tonight. For background, dozens of independent community threads and private video channels are circulating what they say are internal bank screen captures and confidential direct messages showing fresh back-end activity tied to certain foreign currencies. And those items are absolutely fueling a firestorm of chatter tonight. But you need to treat every single one of those posts as a lead worth investigating, never as confirmed proof. And instead stay laser-focused on watching for official notices inside your authenticated bank portal and verified communications from your assigned wealth advisor at institutions like major national banks, with specific activity reportedly concentrated around large metropolitan hubs and key states where private wealth operations run at high volume. So the million-dollar question everyone is asking right now is simple. Is any of this actually real, or is it just noise? And the honest answer is that the picture is genuinely mixed. Because on one hand, there are community-sourced videos and detailed forum threads claiming that internal processing screens and private client messages are reflecting brand new activity for specific currencies. And those posts frequently include screenshots or short recordings from individuals who say they have insider access. But on the other hand, many established official agencies and central banking portals remain either silent or openly cautious, which means you absolutely must approach every early report with disciplined skepticism and look for 3 specific confirmations before you take any action at all. First, a verified secure message delivered through your official authenticated bank portal or sent directly by a known wealth manager you already have a relationship with. Second, consistent independent reporting from multiple credible and unrelated sources saying the same thing. And third, clear procedural instructions that line up with standard banking protocols, such as requesting original purchase receipts and 2 valid forms of government-issued identification. And if at any point you encounter anything that demands you pay a fee to unlock an appointment slot, or asks you to hand over passwords or login credentials, you walk away immediately because no legitimate financial institution on this planet charges fees for appointment access or requests your security credentials through informal channels. And it is precisely the toxic mixture of genuine operational preparation and wild hype that creates dangerous confusion. So take every fresh claim one careful step at a time and verify everything through your own official channels before you commit to any action. Now, if you do receive a legitimate secure invitation to schedule an appointment, here is what the process is expected to look like based on the patterns people are reporting. First, expect that this is strictly an appointment-only operation. These are not walk-in situations. The facilities handling large-scale foreign currency work are typically specialized processing centers or private banking suites designed for discretion and controlled workflows, not your everyday retail branch on the corner. And when you arrive, you will likely be greeted by a small dedicated team that includes a wealth manager, a compliance specialist, and potentially a tax advisor. And that team will methodically verify your identification, review your original purchase receipts, and audit your physical inventory of notes. And they may then present structured payout options or long-term investment planning strategies. And they will almost certainly require a fully updated Know Your Customer packet that includes documented proof of how you acquired the notes, copies of every purchase receipt, and current valid identification, so dress professionally. Bring both originals and clean photocopies of everything. Make sure your phone is fully charged with notifications turned on. And be mentally prepared to be asked to sign confidentiality agreements, because non-disclosure agreements are extremely common in private financial settlements of this nature. They establish boundaries around what you can share publicly and with whom. They do not inherently signal anything suspicious. But you absolutely must read every word carefully and confirm that the terms are reasonable, and do not strip away rights you need, such as the right to seek independent legal or tax counsel. And before you walk into that room, prepare a written list of questions you want answered, and know exactly who you will contact for professional advice after the meeting concludes. One of the most frequently asked questions circulating right now is which specific financial institutions are involved, and community reports consistently reference major national banking players, specifically the large private banking and wealth management divisions that already serve high net worth and ultra-high net worth clients. And the suggestion embedded in these reports is that those institutions may be quietly establishing controlled private workflows to handle complex multi-currency exchanges that demand rigorous compliance infrastructure. But whether every single named bank is actively participating in every single region remains genuinely unclear, because online claims often cite a handful of big names as representative examples without granular geographic confirmation. And if your banking relationship runs through a local retail branch, your pathway into this process may look significantly different from someone who already has a dedicated private wealth relationship. So the key takeaway is that the banks best equipped to manage private exchanges are the ones that already administer large, diversified portfolios and work routinely with trusts, estates, and institutional clients. And if you have an existing relationship with a wealth manager, you should proactively reach out right now to let that person know you hold foreign currency. You want to document and ask specifically about their current procedures. And if you do not have a dedicated wealth contact, then log into your bank portal and check for secure messages, and call the main customer service line to request a conversation with a manager in the foreign currency or international services department. And above all, do not rely solely on forum chatter to guide your decisions. Verify everything through your own bank. Geographic location is a significant factor in how a rollout like this unfolds, because reports consistently indicate that initial activity tends to cluster in areas where large concentrations of client accounts and private banking infrastructure already exist. And in the United States, that typically means major metropolitan areas and states with dense wealth management operations. And people have specifically named cities like large financial centers in the South, the Southeast, and the West Coast as potential hotspots where specialized processing facilities may already be operational. But that does not mean every single person located in those cities is going to receive a notification today. It simply means those locations have the physical and institutional infrastructure required to process high-volume private transactions efficiently. And if you live in a smaller town or rural area, your regional bank may still coordinate with larger hub institutions and schedule appointments through partner networks or regional processing agreements. So keep monitoring your secure portals and watch for verified messages from your local institution. And if you notice increased buzz around a specific facility in your area, treat that as a trigger to immediately double-check your documentation and confirm that your bank has your current contact details on file. But do not travel anywhere or hand over a single note to anyone unless you have a confirmed official appointment in writing. Documentation is without question the single most important readiness factor you can control right now, because if you are called in, you will be required to produce proof, and that proof includes original purchase receipts from the dealer or institution where you bought the currency, a detailed inventory sheet listing every single note by denomination and serial number, and valid government-issued identification such as a passport, plus at least one secondary form of ID. And you should also include any documentation that establishes the chain of acquisition, like dealer transaction records or bank wire confirmations. And if your notes are held inside a trust or limited liability company, then bring the full trust documents, articles of organization, and any power of attorney paperwork that authorizes you to act on behalf of the entity. And if you are missing any paperwork, contact the original dealer or institution where you made the purchase and request duplicate receipts or transaction confirmations immediately. And do not under any circumstances fabricate or improvise false documents, because banks run rigorous compliance checks, and any mismatch between your paperwork and their verification systems can delay your processing or disqualify you entirely. And organize your physical notes into clean bundles sorted by denomination. Use clearly labeled envelopes or transparent protective sleeves, and make sure the inventory sheet matches exactly how the bundles are physically arranged, so that when the compliance team opens your package, everything lines up perfectly. Because presenting a professional, meticulously organized package accelerates processing and signals to the bank that you are a serious, prepared client. Security and personal safety deserve top priority whenever large amounts of physical currency are involved. So expect heightened security measures at any facility handling significant exchanges. That means credential verification at the door, restricted access processing areas, and possibly biometric identity confirmation. And if the appointment involves moving substantial funds, the bank and the facility will follow strict institutional protocols designed to protect both staff and clients while satisfying regulatory compliance requirements. And on your end, do not share sensitive personal information in public chat groups or unsecured forums. Do not post photographs of your full identification documents or images showing the front and back of checks or financial instruments in any online space. And if you are ever approached by someone offering to physically pick up your notes in exchange for a wire transfer or cash payment, treat that as an immediate red flag and disengage. Only proceed through verified institutional channels. And if you feel uneasy about traveling with large quantities of physical currency, ask the bank during your appointment confirmation call whether they can arrange delivery through a licensed armored transport service, or whether there are other verified secure handover options available. And keep receipts and written records for every single step of the process, and insist on receiving written confirmation for every term, rate, and agreement discussed during any appointment. When it comes to the actual payout, expect to be presented with options rather than simply being handed a stack of cash, because banks typically offer structured payout alternatives that can include full wire transfers to your designated account, scheduled disbursements spread over a defined period, managed investment portfolios, or trust-based wealth management arrangements. And for certain bond type or structured instruments, the payouts may be distributed over several years as part of a broader stabilization framework. And if you prefer a single lump sum payment, ask detailed questions about applicable fees, tax withholding rules, and net proceeds. And if you prefer a managed long-term approach, ask about management fees, expected performance benchmarks, and reporting schedules. And a competent wealth manager will walk you through the potential tax implications and compliance obligations associated with each option. And keep in mind that tax law varies significantly by jurisdiction. So before you commit to any major financial decision, consult a qualified tax professional who has specific experience with international currency events and understands your local tax code inside and out. And do not let excitement or pressure push you into agreeing to terms you do not fully comprehend. Demand written plans with clear timelines, and make sure any bank-proposed arrangement includes explicit dates, amounts, and instructions for how funds will be delivered to you. For holders of structured instruments such as certain African-issued bonds, the process can differ substantially from a standard currency exchange, because these instruments are often settled through structured payout systems rather than a single spot rate transaction, which means holders may receive scheduled payments over time, sometimes with conditions that favor long-term humanitarian or development-oriented projects. And if your holding is a financial instrument rather than physical banknotes, confirm directly with the administrator or custodian about the specific redemption timeline, the required documentation package, and how project proposals or development plans may influence the terms and rates you are offered. Because many institutions prefer to pair instrument redemptions with detailed project outlines that explain precisely how the funds will be deployed, especially when humanitarian or development language is embedded in the instrument's original terms. So have your project summaries prepared in advance and include clear budgets, realistic timelines, and measurable outcome goals, because this helps the reviewing teams evaluate which projects meet the criteria for the most favorable terms. And treat every instrument redemption as a comprehensive financial planning event by requesting a written statement of expected payment schedules and any contingencies that could affect timing or amounts. If you hold multiple currencies such as both Middle Eastern and Southeast Asian notes, some reports suggest that banks may offer consolidated package appointments to settle multiple currencies in a single session, and that can be highly efficient for streamlining paperwork and coordinating tax planning. But it also significantly increases the complexity of the appointment because each currency carries its own compliance requirements. So make absolutely sure that each currency has its own separately documented chain of custody, its own inventory sheet, and its own proof of purchase. Because when multiple currencies are present, the bank must apply independent compliance checks for each one. So keep separate labeled inventory sheets and separate receipt packages for each currency. And if you plan to request a combined appointment, notify your bank ahead of time and ask for a detailed checklist of exactly what they will need for each currency, and confirm how they will calculate any equivalent values or internal contract rates, and ask specifically whether bank internal rates may differ by client tier, account type, or volume. And having everything clearly separated and labeled prevents cross-contamination of documentation and helps keep the entire process clean, fast, and error-free. Regarding non-disclosure agreements and confidentiality clauses, many early private appointments incorporate confidentiality measures designed to protect both the client and the institution. And a standard NDA can limit what you say publicly about the rate you received, the location of the appointment, the names of the personnel involved, or the specific terms of your settlement, and that is entirely normal in large-scale private financial transactions. So if you are asked to sign an NDA, read every clause carefully, confirm exactly what is restricted and for how long the restrictions apply, and pay special attention to any clause that would prevent you from seeking independent legal or tax advice, because such a clause is inappropriate and should be challenged immediately. And if anything in the agreement confuses you or feels overreaching, ask for additional time to have the document reviewed by your own attorney before you sign. And do not allow yourself to be pressured into signing under duress, because a reputable institution will always allow reasonable time for independent review. And keep a personal copy of every signed document, and make sure you clearly understand any reporting obligations or behavioral restrictions the NDA imposes. And if you have any doubt at all, consult an independent attorney who specializes in financial confidentiality agreements before you put your name on anything. Community channels and private groups will continue to light up with fresh claims, alleged leaks, and new screenshots around the clock. And that is simply the nature of a high-stakes speculation environment. So use community reports as early warning leads worth investigating, but never as standalone confirmations. And if multiple independent and genuinely reputable sources report the same verified detail with matching timestamps and corroborating evidence, that begins to approach something resembling confirmation. But stay on guard against recycled claims that spread like wildfire without fresh verification, because some videos and posts deliberately repurpose outdated clips or old screenshots that are no longer relevant. So always check timestamps. Always ask whether screenshots originated from official authenticated bank portals or from unverified private messages. And if any post or message asks you to send money to secure a faster appointment or to unlock a special rate, it is almost certainly a scam. So report suspicious posts to the platform where you found them and to your bank's fraud department, and maintain your own personal log of who you spoke with, when you spoke with them, and what the official bank contact details are, because that log will help you quickly distinguish real institutional outreach from sophisticated phishing attempts. If you do not receive a call or a secure message today, do not panic and do not let frustration drive you into reckless decisions, because most rollouts that involve heavy compliance requirements and enormous transaction volumes are executed in carefully staged waves, and early appointment slots almost always go to the most prepared and pre-vetted profiles, meaning people who already have established trusts, active LLCs, or long-standing high-net-worth private banking relationships. And that does not mean you are excluded from the process. It simply means the institution is managing volume in a controlled sequence to avoid operational bottlenecks and compliance failures. So use this window of time to make your paperwork absolutely bulletproof. Update any expired identification. Make fresh copies of every receipt. Organize your notes meticulously by denomination and serial number, and build a clean, comprehensive inventory. and confirm that your bank has your current phone number, email address, and mailing address on file, and ask whether you are registered on a waiting list or assigned to a specific processing tier or wave. And if you hold currency through a trust or LLC, verify that all trustee signatures, articles of organization, and power of attorney documents are current and properly notarized, because patience is genuinely a strategic advantage here. And being fully prepared for the call when it comes is infinitely more valuable than being the first person called. Scam activity will spike dramatically during high-interest periods like this one, because fraudsters are experts at exploiting excitement and urgency. And the most common scams you will encounter include requests for upfront fees to unlock or expedite an appointment, fabricated documents that mimic official bank letterhead, an impersonation of bank staff through spoofed phone numbers or fake email addresses. So never provide your login credentials to anyone. Never pay a fee to receive or confirm an appointment, and understand that legitimate banks will never ask for your online banking password through any channel. And if someone contacts you claiming they can fast-track your case or guarantee a higher rate for a fee, treat that communication as fraudulent without exception. And if you receive any unusual or suspicious request, contact your bank immediately using the main customer service phone number printed on your most recent statement or listed on the bank's verified official website. And do not use phone numbers or contact details pulled from social media posts or forwarded messages. And keep detailed records of any suspicious outreach, including screenshots, timestamps, and caller information. And if you believe you have been targeted by a scam, report the incident to your bank's fraud department and to the relevant consumer protection agency in your jurisdiction, and act quickly to protect your identity by monitoring your accounts and placing alerts if necessary. Communication and follow-through after the appointment are just as critical as the appointment itself, so keep written confirmation of the agreed payout method, the specific amounts, and the delivery schedule. And if funds are being wired, confirm the receiving account details in writing and ask for an estimated timeline for when the transfer will be completed and visible in your account. And for structured payouts, request a formal payment schedule and a signed contract that specifies exact amounts, exact dates, and any conditions that could alter the schedule, and confirm how the bank will report these distributions for tax purposes and what documentation they will provide for your tax filings. And if the bank recommends investment products or advisory services, ask for full written disclosure of all fees, potential conflicts of interest, and performance history. And if you agree to enter an advisory relationship, insist on a written engagement agreement that spells out services, fee structures, and reporting obligations, and do not accept verbal promises or handshake deals without written backup. And if anything that happens after the appointment deviates from what was agreed during the meeting, document the discrepancy in detail and escalate the issue immediately to a senior bank manager or the institution's compliance officer. And maintain a secure physical and digital folder containing all appointment paperwork, receipts, signed agreements, and correspondence. If you are part of a group, a dealer network, or an organized community of holders, coordinate your efforts carefully, because large numbers of people converging on the same location at the same time can create serious logistical and security problems. And if you belong to an organized group, make sure every individual member follows official bank guidance independently and brings their own complete personal documentation package. And avoid sharing sensitive personal information like full ID images or account numbers in group chats, regardless of how trusted the group feels. And coordinate travel plans based only on confirmed appointment times rather than speculation. And if you are arranging for another person to act on your behalf at an appointment, ensure that power of attorney documents are current, properly notarized, and explicitly authorize the representative to act in the specific capacity required. And also verify in writing with the bank that they will accept your designated representative, and confirm exactly what identification and authorization documents the representative will need to present. Because careful planning and disciplined coordination in group settings dramatically reduces risk for everyone involved and helps the bank process appointments efficiently without delays. Remember the deeply human side of this entire process, because emotions run incredibly high when life-altering sums of money and the possibility of dramatic personal transformation are on the line. So take deliberate time to breathe, center yourself, and avoid making impulsive promises or commitments you may regret. And talk openly with your immediate family about your plans and expectations, but strictly honor any confidentiality rules you have agreed to if you signed an NDA. And if you are considering launching charitable initiatives or community development projects, involve trusted, experienced advisors from the very beginning and develop clear written budgets, realistic timelines, and measurable impact goals before committing funds. And surround yourself with a team of experienced professionals, including attorneys, tax advisors, and certified financial planners before you finalize any major financial decision. Because clear-headed choices made with qualified expert input consistently lead to far better long-term outcomes than emotional reactions driven by adrenaline and excitement. And keep a simple physical checklist that you carry with you to any appointment covering identification, inventory, receipts, bank confirmation details, and a written list of questions you want answered. Because that checklist will anchor you and keep you calm, focused, and in control during the meeting. Here is your action plan for the next 24 hours. First, log into your secure bank portal right now and check every folder including spam and archived messages for any verified communications. Second, update and print every piece of your documentation including your passport, secondary ID, all original purchase receipts, and a clean comprehensive inventory of every note organized by denomination and serial number. Third, confirm your current contact information and your relationship status with your bank or your currency dealer. Fourth, schedule a consultation with a qualified tax professional if you anticipate receiving a significant payout, so you understand your obligations before money moves. Fifth, prepare a concise project summary if you intend to request enhanced contract terms tied to humanitarian or development work. And sixth, refuse to act on any message that asks for payment or requests your personal passwords or login credentials regardless of how official it looks. And if you follow these steps methodically, you will be in a dramatically stronger position than the vast majority of holders if and when your appointment invitation arrives. To verify whether any message you receive is legitimate, understand that official bank communications typically arrive through authenticated secure online portals, verified institutional email addresses, or direct phone calls from numbers listed on official bank websites and printed statements. And a legitimate message will never ask for your password. It will reference specific account details or recent verified activity, and will include a clear path for you to contact the bank back through official channels. And if you are ever unsure about a message, hang up immediately and call the bank yourself using the phone number printed on your physical bank statement or displayed on the bank's verified official website. And do not click on links embedded in social media posts or direct messages from unknown contacts. And if a message includes a portal link, verify that the domain exactly matches the bank's known official domain, and look for secure HTTPS indicators in your browser. And if a message creates a sense of extreme urgency or uses high-pressure language to rush you into immediate action, treat the tone itself as a red flag, because legitimate financial institutions will always allow you reasonable time to verify the communication and to gather your required documentation. If you are traveling to an appointment location, plan your logistics with precision. Confirm the appointment time in writing before you leave. Bring every piece of required identification along with original receipts and your complete inventory sheet. Travel with a trusted companion whenever possible and inform someone you trust about where you are going and when you expect to return. Keep your phone fully charged throughout the day. Avoid posting real-time updates about your appointment or your location on any social media platform. And if you must travel carrying substantial physical currency, ask the bank during your confirmation call whether they can arrange secure armored transport or a bank-coordinated handover, so you are not personally carrying large sums through public spaces. And plan to arrive at the appointment location with a comfortable time buffer so you are not rushed or flustered during check-in, because being calm, punctual, and organized helps the entire process run smoothly and leaves a strong impression with the team handling your case. When you are sitting in that appointment room, have your prepared list of questions ready and do not hesitate to ask every single one. Ask for a written explanation of exactly how the bank calculates any contract rate or internal exchange rate being applied. Ask about all applicable fees and commissions. Ask about the exact timeline for fund delivery. Ask how the transaction will be reported for tax purposes and what tax documentation the bank will provide. Ask whether funds are insured during the transfer process. And if you are offered structured payouts, ask for a detailed breakdown of individual payment amounts and specific payment dates. and ask for written confirmation of any advice given or financial products recommended. And ask who your primary ongoing contact will be going forward and request direct contact details for the compliance officer who supervised your case. And if at any point during the meeting you encounter something you do not fully understand, ask for time to review it with your independent legal or tax advisor before agreeing. And do not allow yourself to feel rushed or pressured into signing anything you have not thoroughly reviewed, because a clear, organized set of questions makes the meeting more productive for everyone and ensures you walk out with written answers you can study and verify later. If you are a high-volume holder or an institutional entity, expect to face additional layers of scrutiny and extended compliance procedures, because institutions, trusts, and entities holding large volumes routinely undergo more detailed source of funds investigations and additional compliance workflows, and that is completely normal and expected. And for large volume cases, the bank will want to thoroughly verify that all funds are legitimate and that the entire transaction complies with every applicable regulatory standard. So expect requests for corporate formation documents, proof of beneficial ownership, corporate-level know your customer verification, and detailed transaction histories. And if you hold currency through a trust, ensure that all trustee signatures and trust documentation are current and properly executed. And for corporate holders, have board resolutions and authorized signatory documents prepared and ready to present. And the bank may also recommend staged releases of funds to manage liquidity impacts and to optimize tax treatment. So work closely with your legal and compliance advisors to meet these elevated standards efficiently and without delays. Finally, keep everything in perspective, because many people in this community have been waiting for years, and that accumulated impatience can make even the most disciplined person vulnerable to scams and bad decisions. And the reality is that major changes in currency regimes are extraordinarily complex undertakings that involve countless moving parts and take significant time to implement properly. So treat every new message, every screenshot, and every claim as something that requires independent verification. Make your decisions in partnership with qualified professionals. Keep your documentation clean and instantly accessible. Protect your personal identity at all times. Report any suspicious activity immediately. And remember that being thoroughly prepared is vastly more valuable than being the first person through the door. Because if the reports circulating tonight turn out to be accurate, then your preparation will allow you to move forward with confidence and clarity. And if the reports turn out to be premature, then your readiness still pays enormous dividends because your paperwork is tighter, your plan is sharper, and your professional team is already in place. And either way, you come out ahead by staying calm, staying methodical, and staying ready.